Welcome back. Now that you have completed all 10 of your reports, we will learn 2 methods for presenting your report information in Excel. Let's get started. The first method is cutting and pasting from the query to Excel. Create a spreadsheet named Current Reports and place it in a folder called Reports. The next step is to simply double-click each of your queries to see results and copy them to Excel. Let's start with query 1. Double-click to open, and then right-mouse click the upper left box of the table to highlight all the cells, and then choose Copy. Go to the first sheet in your current report file, and right-click cell A1 and click Paste. Your data now appears there. You can now make formatting changes such as widen your columns, and get rid of your wrap text by highlighting all the cells and clicking Wrap Text on and off again. If you want to, you can add totals to the bottom, something Access doesn't do in query mode. Just add them as I'm doing below using the total function. You can do any of the formatting you want, and when you are done, name the sheet Report 1. Just repeat the process to do all 10. We'll do one more for demo purposes. Close the first query and open the second. Right mouse click Copy in the upper left box, and then paste to the spreadsheet by clicking cell A1 and choosing Paste, and so on. This may seem a bit laborious, but remember that next time this is all you have to do. No more query work, and definitely no Excel work like pivots or VLOOKUPs. The second method is to create export to Excel. You can use this method to export your data similar to the way you imported it. This will create separate workbooks for each report that you can send together in an email, or you can combine the spreadsheets into one workbook if you'd like. We'll demo it with query 4, Total Sales by Project. Right-click on the query and choose Export to Excel. You can accept the defaults, but since this is a one-time setup, I like being as descriptive as possible. Click the Browse button. I'll use Desktop Integrate Access Reports as before. You can name the file whatever you want. I'll call it Total Sales by Product. Click Save and then check the first box in bold so you bring the formatting over and then check OK. Then, to make it easier next time, which is a running theme in Access, click Save Export Steps using the default name of the query, same as the file name, and then Save Export. Before we look at the report, let's do it one more time for the report in query 5, Total Sales by Salesperson. Right-click on the query and choose Export Excel. We will use 5 Total Sales by Salesperson. Check the first box in bold so you bring the formatting over, and then save the export steps as before. Let's now go to the File folder and look at our results. The report looks exactly as it did in our query, and the sheet name is the same as your query, which is good for reference purposes. Let's add totals to the report. Now let's open the next report. Let's add totals here as well, and then let's compare the 2 reports, and the totals between the 2 reports agree. As I mentioned earlier, that's it, a one-time process with no data work in Excel. Next time you want to export a report to Excel, just click External Data, Save Exports, and click the Save Export for the report you want, and then Run. As you see, it will warn you that you're updating replacing reports that are in the file. If the reports in the file are ones that you want to keep, just move them to a separate folder so they don't get copied over. Otherwise, click Yes and you'll get a message saying you're successful. One more thing before we end this lesson, you might have noticed that when you clicked export, there are other choices such as PDF. If you want to send your data in a format that is for display purposes only, this is a great choice. Feel free to use them as I'm showing here. Just make sure you do two things. When you are naming your file, choose standard publishing as I am showing. And two, when you name the export in the last step, put PDF after the export name, because two export routines can't have the same name even though they are different file types. You can email your report files or even save them to a shared drive that others can view, whatever you like. This is the end of the required work for the entire assignment. To recap, you've done three things: imported your data, created your report queries, and brought your results back to Excel or to another format. In the next lesson, we will learn the simplicity of doing a new month. We will do all three steps by just importing your data and exporting your results. I'll see you there. Welcome to Lesson 13. In this lesson, we will do a new month from start to finish, leveraging all the setup work we did in the previous lessons. We will do just imports and exports. Let's get started. To prepare for a new month, we put the new month's files into the empty import folder that we programmed Access to use. If you are unsure that the Excel files are the same, open them up and check out the file structure. Make sure it hasn't changed. You can also do a quick cleanup as shown on screen using the salesperson file to make sure there isn't any extraneous data outside of the data you are importing. Now we do our work in Access. We open our Access file and go to External Data, Saved Imports, and run each saved import by clicking on the Excel logo for each import, in any order, and then clicking Run. It will confirm that everything worked by saying all objects were successfully imported. Now we go to our External Data Saved Exports, and you'll see that I set up all 10 reports to export as I demoed in the last lesson. We will export each one from top to bottom, and again the order doesn't matter. We click the icon and then click Run. Finally, we go to our directory and we can open up each report, make any changes we want, and that's it. So you may be wondering, what about the data combined, all the report queries? We never ran them. This is why Access is so different and efficient. When the data export runs, all the necessary queries run behind the scenes. They look at the new data and automatically update and produce the correct results. There is nothing else that we have to do to make this happen. So this is the beauty of integrating Access with Excel. From setup to execution, you never have to touch your data, and everything happens efficiently and safely. I trust you appreciate that the production of an entire month of new reports is the shortest lessons in the course. The next 3 lessons I call optional because they're not required to perform the assignment. However, you'll have the opportunity to learn some excellent techniques that you can use to make you more proficient when working with Excel data and Access. In this lesson, we will cover a few more things we can do with the criteria feature of Access queries. We'll cover date queries, wildcard queries, and runtime queries. As you begin using Access, you will have a desire to learn as much as you can because you will steadily find it a lot easier and more efficient than working in Excel. This course is meant to help you make a solid transition to Access, but for that reason, it is intentionally limited in what it covers. However, if you are interested, there are some more things that I feel are worth covering at this stage of your development. Date queries are very similar to text and number queries. Let's open the Data Combine query and go back to Design View. Let's say we want to see records in the date range. Simply drag down the date field, uncheck the Show box, then enter, for example, between 10/1/18 and 10/10/18. As you can see, Access automatically adds pound, or what you may call hash signs, before and after the dates. The pound sign specifies them as dates as opposed to text or numbers. Note that you can use the word between when indicating numerical ranges as well. We select View and we see only transactions between these two dates. I will now demo the wildcard, which is an asterisk, same as in other Office programs. Let's go back to Design View and clear the date criteria. As with searching for files on your computer, the wildcard means that you can just enter a portion of what you are searching for. For example, if you wanted all salespeople whose name contained Rod, you would put an asterisk Rod asterisk in the name field. Access adds the words like, so you know that it is substituting anything in the place of the asterisk. You can use asterisks in the beginning, middle, and end of your text, basically wherever you need to. We will click View and see that only Sales for Rodriguez appears. Let's add or asterisk mit asterisk. Now, in addition to Rodriguez, we get Mitchell and Smith sales because or lets you get either criteria. Okay, let's clear the criteria to prepare for the final part of this lesson, which will be the runtime query. A runtime query is a special feature where you run the query first and ask you for input second. Let's say you want to build a query that shows you sales over $2,000 for any office you choose, but you want to choose your office when you run it. To do this, make sure all previous criteria is cleared and enter greater than $2,000 under sales. In the office criteria, place in brackets, enter office. Now click View. You are given a dialog box to enter your response, which must exactly match your records for the field you choose. Therefore, you have to spell it correctly, but if you make an error, just run it again. You enter Kansas City and click OK and it works. Note that you can also use multiple runtime fields. Go back to Design View and enter a date question such as between, in brackets, enter start date, and enter end date. You can see whenever you open it, it will ask you the questions. 10/1/18, 10/15/18, Chicago, and there are your results. Note that you can always save this query or any other query you modify with a different name, so you can run it again in the future. However, don't save it over your data combined query because then your reports won't run. And that's the end of the lesson. We've covered date queries, wildcard queries, and runtime queries. As you have experienced, there really is a very large combination of things you can do in Access to get exactly the records you want. I encourage you to use these methods when working on your own projects and to continue exploring on your own.